Welcome, everybody. This is Terry Palma with our gang here for another session of Conscious Gatherers. With me tonight are Donna, Royce, and Beverly and myself. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome.
How have you been all week?
I'm sorry?
How have you all been all week?
Busy.
I've been fine. I've been with the little one, and it helped ground me, but there's a couple other people that are on this phone, and I've heard otherwise, so go ahead.
Oh, well.
Good.
Yeah,
great.
we were
I'm
here.
looking forward to our show this evening, and I'm sure our audience is. So if, Bev, did you have something you wanted to start with, or anybody else want to speak up first? That'd be great.
Okay, I mean, if you want to talk about what you experienced this week, or no, just a little spacey, or feel like you're doing work and other places outside the body, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how much we could talk about here, but
we can talk about it whatever we want.
Okay. Yeah, for a few days there over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this is Donna. I was barely here, like a lot of myself was out doing other things off planet basically, and some of it was connected with here and the earth and bringing more of a true reality here and melting the illusion. Some of it was way out there, so I was feeling very spacey. And Sunday I was barely present and even looked older, and I realized it was like my bodies were separated out from my physical body. But Monday I landed back in, thank God. So I don't usually go around talking like that, but Bev said, go ahead and tell them. So I guess this is a show for the unusual and people into the unusual. So here we go.
Hey, I was told, don't hold back. Mm-hmm. Share it all. So we're sharing it. And Royce, did you want to say anything, or Terry?
I'll come in a little bit.
Okay.
Well, I was, I believe it was yesterday, at some point. I had actually forgotten about it until Donna mentioned it, but feeling myself really out there in a very expanded space, not really connected with any one planet, but just a hugeness to whatever it was that was being done. It was a neat experience.
Yeah. Wow. It's really interesting to hear you all talk about this, and it really expands all of our consciousnesses as we talk about it. And I think it's time to talk about all this. And can we explain all experiences yet? Maybe you can, but I can't with everything that I experience. And then I'll get it later and like, oh, okay. So anyway, this is Bev. This is our episode 21. And today's date, I think, Terry, you may have stated this. It's July 28th, 2020. And where I want to start off, or continue in this discussion is more on our innate abilities. And so I want to go into a little more technical things regarding our bodies, and then let you guys take off with whatever you want to express. And I think all of you have a lot to say. All right. Well, I want to start out with surrender. How many times have we used that word surrender? We've talked about it on this show. And what does that mean? And what I feel it means is we're yielding to our inner self, or our true self, our God within. So that's what surrender is to me. So the power is bestowed upon people of this planet. It's also called the God force. And that's really the energies that exist within our body are a part of this God force. All right, I want to get a little more technical here. And I did pull this information from, I believe, my first book. I said an idea or a spark starts in our hearts. And this we discussed many times. Terry, you and I had discussed this early on in our podcast. So I'm going to go a little bit further on this. Anyway, our mind, which includes the brain and the three major glands, which are the pineal, hypothalamus, and pituitary go into action and sort out a message received. The mind will act and put the energy in motion. Through our body's sensory receptors, we have the ability to receive the energy released by another. And this energy is in constant flow and can be changed or transmuted through our heart-mind. Creation continues with this process. Each person chooses what he or she wants to experience. The energy is worked within the total system, which is termed God. And we may have talked about this before, but the word system is kind of interesting, as God as a system. If you look at it, it is. It is. Now, from what both Royce and Donna talked about a few minutes ago, as their stream of consciousness, they knew they were out in the ether, so to speak. I'm going to try to simplify what they were saying. And so they were still connected to their body here, and the body here is very, very important, so let's remember that. So anyway, what a lot of this information that I feel they're doing, and you guys can talk about this in just a minute, is that whatever you guys were doing, I say you guys, and that's no gender involved there, but it's merging the consciousness within the body, and so some of it may come forth as to what you're doing out there or what we all do out there, but when you call out there, even though there's no out there, but for our purposes, we see things outside of our body out there, and you know that doesn't exist. I know, hard to understand that, but that's the way it is, because we're all within the consciousness of God. All right. One thing I want to talk about, too, is, and we talked about this in the previous episodes, or either the last one or the one before, and that is the Earth's movements. And we're talking about some of the Earth changes, alterations. The word came to me the other day when the four of us were meditating. But anyway, the Earth's movements act from the heart of the mother. And we're talking about mother as in Gaia. The heart, also part of the God force, is greatly affected by the energies released by all who inhabit her body. And I think, Royce, you went into this last time, and I just want to reiterate that information. So basically, all of our star systems resonate at a similar frequency or in frequency. And Gaia is part of the dance. That includes all of the cosmos. And all the cosmos is linked through the energy wave patterns, yet the wave patterns resonate at different frequencies or dimensions, which gives the appearance of separateness. So this universe of light is the smallest particum to the whole of the dimensions combined. And I'm getting this from what I received. Right, it is the whole and absolute. It moves, it changes form, but the energies remain constant. Life can then be summed up by this truth. All matter is an arrangement of light. In the earth realm, the various arrangements of light are called the ages. And I would want to finish what I have to say with words from Sananda, and Sananda being the over or the higher self of the one we call Jesus. So here's what I would like to read to you all. What he told me, he said, when you contemplate the ocean, you see the ebb and flow. The waves get larger because of an action on or in the earth. You notice a change in the ebb and flow, yet the particles that make up the waters remain much the same. So it is with God, that wonderful force that makes up who and what we are. Life continues and will never cease to end. That cannot be. Therefore, love life in this moment. You are the creators. Create wisely. He went on to further say that this book, this writing was given to the Essenes, and many of you listening know who the Essenes are, and that Mary Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and Sananda or Jesus were all part of the scenes. So there you go. So I leave it open for you all and share.
Very, very interesting. Royce, you have anything to add to that?
Nope, not at this time. I'm sure I'll come up with something in a minute.
I remember we were talking about abilities too, that when we had our meditation. And there's a fantastic website called icuacademy.com. It's a lady in England who channeled information to start this school. And basically, it proves that we have no limitations to the abilities we come in with, but we choose to turn them off as we are programmed through our culture, through our family, and all of that. But the bottom line is she takes children from the age of 5 to 12 and actually teaches them how to use their senses. So without seeing, without using their eyes, they're actually blindfolded. They're reading books, seeing things, running through obstacles. It's absolutely amazing to actually watch the video that this school is doing. And she has teachers throughout the world that you can become certified to do it. It's not that expensive, but it shows the abilities that we come into 3D with, and that we can keep them going and nurture them. And some of the case studies that they tell on the website is just phenomenal. One boy, I think, was in school, and they were reading, and he said to the teacher, "Oh, I could read with my eyes closed, blindfolded." She says, "No, you can't." He goes, "Yes, I can." She goes, "No, you can't." So he took his jacket off and wrapped it around his head where it closed his eyes and started reading. And she just went, I can imagine what she did and the rest of the class. But it just, there's so many examples around, if we just look for them, that we are superhuman. We're just remarkable beings, and we have such great talents, but we stifle them. And unfortunately, our parents, our society has stifled them, because of how they were brought up. So hopefully, with this podcast, with other podcasts that are out there, and us sharing links, we can open up the vistas of what is possible and what we can do here while we're learning and stuff. Again, that website, and we'll put a link when we show this on our YouTube. We'll have a link to it, but it's icuacademy.com. That's it for me right now.
All right.
That is amazing about the children and about how unlimited we are. I think because we have a set of eyes, we get kind of locked into the world of appearances. And appearance is that's like the height of limitation. We are so much more than what can be seen.
Absolutely. There's also a school in Ogden, Utah. It's a martial arts school. These are the two particular schools, the one lady and then another school in Ogden, like I said. They're a martial arts school, and they teach the same thing. It's a different, I don't know if it's the same type of program, if they learn from the gal, but these kids are doing amazing things, and adults. I saw some adults there, whereas the first lady only dealt with children, but there were adults, and taking playing cards and turning them over and knowing what the suit was, 7 of clubs, 8 of hearts, or whatever, with a blindfold on. I mean, real strong blindfolds. Not things you can see through. So it's amazing.
Thank you for sharing all of that, because I think it's just so interesting, especially seeing these children, as both you and Royce talked about, the unlimitedness, that they're showing what we as humans can be and can do, whatever our abilities, whatever word you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think how far to go into this, but I know from my own experience that we can do many, many things, on planet and off planet, and help to influence what's happening on the planet rather than just being a controlled robot, basically, by the beings here that have tried to manipulate and control things on the earth in many, many ways that are outstanding and many subtle ways that people aren't even aware of. So the more we ask to be of service, pray, ask, whatever terminology you want to use, but the more our hearts are pure, the more our higher centers actually open up, and our hearts open up so that our higher centers, our connection with all that is, can increase and, work through our instruments here and with our instruments here to do amazing things, really, in conjunction with the earth and political issues. I mean, the sky is literally the limit. The profound effects that we can have by just knowing who we are. That's a whole other series of conversations. But I just wanted to interject it so that it's, the gifts are great, manipulating on this earth plane and being able to do all these things, walk down aisles and see what's there, blindfolded and all that, but it's so much bigger. And the more we're of service and want to help the whole, really, people will be amazed to see how we're really a part of everything, the earth, the planets, the sky, each other.
Yes,
so we want to be careful every
all blended
moment,
together.
Watchful of our thoughts and our motives and our hearts and, where we're going, because we're very, very powerful beings. Go ahead, Rice.
I was just talking about the consciousness. It's all one thing.
Mhm.
One consciousness, and when we blend in, there truly isn't any separation. And like you said, well, it's not even the sky's the limit, because there's no boundary.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's no limit. That's just an old term I fell into.
Yeah, it is. Is there really a sky? And that's what Sananda was saying. Taking a look at the ocean and that we're all up, say, part of the ocean, and there's an ebb and a flow, and all those particles are us and everything, all existence. But in the ocean, it can be termed God or whatever word you want to use. So it's a way to really look at this more easily and understand the significance, because ocean would not be the ocean without each of us as being a part of it. We're all extremely important. And don't, maybe I shouldn't use that word, don't. Just understand the importance that you are. Don't minimize it. I did say no. Don't. But anyway, don't minimize yourself.
Be open. Even working with weather and tectonic plates and all that kind of thing. I mean, if you're in an area where there's tornadoes, you can just zoom up into the sky or the clouds, whatever. I just go up into the eye of wherever it's happening, whether it's the eye of the hurricane or the center of where the tornadoes are happening, and just be there and just hold the peace, hold the center, and just see the whirlwinds and everything dissolving, whatever's not meant to be in the bigger plan. And literally, that happens. And same with working with the earthquakes to help hold the tectonic plates in more of a balance. We've stopped many earthquakes that were going to happen. So I say we. Sometimes I've just been there alone doing it with the higher forces, and then other times I've been there with other people doing it. So sometimes Mother Earth does have to move around and do her thing, but if you're tuning in with the higher source, just be an instrument, and you know what to do, what energies to be with, and literally the plates will stop moving. So that's just an example.
I had a really neat experience some time ago. Back in the early 2000s, there was a hurricane that was getting ready to go right over the house. And at the time, I had a lot of trees that were, leaning over the house. And so I was kind of quaking in my boots there for a while, until I got to the point to where I thought, you know what, I am just going to talk with the storm as if I'm talking to my best friend. And I felt myself meld into the storm, and I was just expressing all of this love and gratitude for the storm being there and for it doing what it needed to do, because, it has a job, I have a job, we all have our jobs, and I was just feeling and expressing all that love and gratitude, and I did that all night long as the storm was going over. And the last thing, as it was getting ready to zoom on out of the area, I actually heard audibly with my ears a word, a voice saying, "Thank you." It came from everywhere, but it was like that love was accepted, and the gratitude was being expressed for it. It is, the storms are conscious.
Yes, yeah.
And when they're acknowledged as conscious, then what can we not do? It's like talking with your best friend. When we put our minds together, our hearts together, what can you not do?
Right. We are truly one, and the spirits of the weather and everything are very connected with our spirits and our energies, and it's just amazing the impact, we have with each other and the connection we have with each other. And I've experienced that too, like you say, the big thank you from the universe and the different, various spirits out there. I've seen them come in through the clouds, their faces manifest, and the joy and the gratitude, and it's like you're in this choir of the orchestra of the universe,
Yes.
And like you said, love is the key to everything when we're in that unification and presence and, just unified field, but just that love. The love is the key, really. And that's where the real miracles happen, things that we call miracles, that they're like love, actions of love that create miracles. Being in the love, being the love. Thank you.
Well, thank you for expressing all of that and bringing all this up for all of us to really understand all the forces. And if you want to call it the grand force, which is God force. It's all the same. I mean, we're all the God force. So, or whatever words you want to use, but to truly understand. And then our abilities are endless, unlimited.
Yes, and you by using those words, that brought up another point. If we can kind of loosen up on being so locked into using a specific word, let our hearts speak it, let our being speak whatever it is. I think when it comes down to it, we're all saying the same thing and expressing it in different ways, using different words, but it still boils down to the same thing, So if we can just not get so hung up on using the right word, we free up the energy of the universe, and I think it's more available to be made use of,
Yeah. Let new words happen, even, as long as we have to use words, as long as we're using words, we can.
Yeah.
We're really telepathic, and but I find myself, and I think you're finding that sometimes these new words just come through us. It's like, okay, where did that come from? I love it. It explains
it. Yeah, and you brought up something else, Donna, about expressing beyond words with our minds. Using that telepathic communication, another one of our innate abilities. To fill in the blanks where words fall so short.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, also, and I brought this up by saying abilities, what really is happening is that when you blend you are your natural essence. You were created, therefore, and there's only one creation, and we're all part of it. It's like when Daniel was able to calm the lions. It wasn't because he had superpowers. He realized he wasn't Daniel and they weren't lions. They were all one from source, and he communicated that way. And the hardest thing for us in 3D is, and in 3 dimension, in physical form, is to identify not as our bodies, not who we are. I mean, because that's not who we are. And it's very challenging to do that. I mean, we even speak, like you just said, Royce, the words we use kind of hinge us in or put us in this box that we're a physical body, because we're talking from us, me, myself, I, and all that stuff, when we are just, what is the name of God?
Yeah, there isn't.
There's a loaded question here.
We can't speak it.
Even in the Course of Miracles, it says the name of God. It never mentions it. But there's only one place ever that is mentioned that God gives his name. One place. And that's on the mountain when whatchamacallit, not Charlton Heston, but Moses. Moses is on the mountain. Who do I tell him that it sent me when he was going to send him down to talk to the Egyptians? He said, tell him I am that I am. Yeah. And that's the name of God, I am. And that's the most powerful thing that, and we've talked about, I think, in earlier sessions about that, I am, and whatever follows that becomes. So it's careful when you're using your words and you start a sentence with I am, whatever follows is going to manifest. So be very careful on what comes next after you state the word of who you are, because that's what you're stating is the word of our essence. I am. And that's very, very strong. So, again, it's hard for me even to describe what I can feel is that, and when we can get to be the oneness, when we can just get ourselves out of the box and just be, then that's when the communication happens, because we're already part of it and the same, and we're speaking the same language as opposed to our own language that we've created ourselves to separate ourselves from who we really are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, Charleston.
Well, I'm finding it very fascinating with what all of you have shared, because it means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to our audience out there. I am, and what it takes you beyond the physical body.
Yeah.
And the physical body is a part of us, but not the whole of us.
And especially today in the media and with everything going on about everybody thinking they're going to have to live with this virus forever. I mean, this is all put upon you folks. This isn't even true. So in my reality, it's not true. And in a lot of our realities, it's not, so we can totally recreate this. And the media is wanting everybody to live a certain way and be all scrunched in. And, these certain beings that want to see everybody repressed are doing things to keep people repressed, keep them in their fear and, and their masks and everything. And this is our opportunity to break through into who we really are. And to me, it hasn't been an issue because I know I'm way beyond all this, but I see so many other people, their lives being affected. So I just really wanted to share that, to know that we're here to recreate our realities and, be smart, be wise, but look deeper and know what you're dealing with, and call on your biggest, most incredible self and being to guide you through all this. And that's probably enough said right now.
You may get a big audible thank you.
Because really we're on so many breakthroughs, so it's like, the other side, so to speak, in this world of duality doesn't want to see that breakthrough, but we invite all of you at every level to go through the breakthrough with us. It's a choice we all have.
And it's a choice every second. conscious choice to be made every second,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Surrender. That's where we started.
So we're back. We full circle to surrender. Very good. And it is a type of surrender and giving up control. And remember the 3 injunctions that I've spoke about before. Make no judgments, make no comparisons, and delete your need to understand. And you bring those into play, and all of a sudden things start happening in your life because you've kind of surrendered. With those 3 injunctions, you have surrendered. And things start happening for you that, because you've let go of and surrendered. Great job, ladies. Great job.
Beautiful, Terry. Good summation.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Can you believe it's already 7:31? Where does the time go?
I know.
We like to keep these around 30 minutes or so.
But it feels like we're just getting started.
I know. Every time it does, especially we get into these topics that really hit the core, the center. You can feel it, and it resonates with us. And I'm hoping it resonates with our listeners out there too. I'm sure it does with our audience. So, ladies, if you want to continue, if you have something that's really pressing, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll end this session and save it for our 2 weeks from now, which let me give you the date. 2 weeks from now will be August 11th. Gosh, the year's moving on very quickly. So it'll be August 11th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern is our next live session here. Ladies, would you have anything else to say, or would you just like to say, a final good night and or something to everybody?
Yeah, that's good, and I look forward to seeing any comments that people out there have on the blog.
Yeah, we'll put the links to that website that I spoke about in the video review there in the comments when we post that. So if no one else has anything to say, we're going to sign off for this session.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best, everybody, and have a great 2 weeks until we see you again. Good night.
Good night, everybody, and thank you.